Okay, children, so we were studying adaptation and we have discussed the adaptation of the plant, adaptation of the animal, and we have just discussed the various other types of adaptation, but I have not given you the details. So let us study the details. The third one is the physiological adaptation. Physiology is, the functions which are being performed by the organism. That means physiology. So functionally, if they adapt themselves according to the environment, then it is called physiological adaptation. For example, the one which is done by kangaroo rat, where it never drinks water and it utilizes the water which is produced as a result of oxidation, is an example of physiological adaptation. Then, so the one of the example is of kangaroo rat. Another example is the altitude sickness. Altitude sickness, which is shown by us. And this altitude sickness actually refers to the condition where if any human being climbs on or goes up at a higher altitude, then they start feeling breathlessness, they start feeling nausea, they start feeling lethargic, the heart rate increases. So that sum total of all these symptoms is called as an altitude sickness, and the reason is that because at higher altitude the amount of oxygen is less, so the partial pressure of oxygen is also less, and the ability of our body to exchange oxygen with the environment depends a lot upon the partial pressure of the oxygen. If the partial pressure is less, our body will be able to take less oxygen from the air. So that giddiness and that kind of sickness is because of the less amount of oxygen. Then what our body does, our body start producing more RBC. So when the more RBCs are produced, then they will be able to utilize more oxygen or can send more amount of oxygen to our body parts. So but that takes time, around 2 to 3 days. So within that 2 to 3 days, that altitude sickness goes away and a person start feeling normal, and when they come back to the plane, their body reverts back to the same situation as we had earlier. So that is a physiological adaptation which we face when we go to different environment. Then comes the biochemical adaptation. Biochemical adaptation refers to the chemical changes or the chemical reactions which have changed inside, which are different, very much different in these organisms. For example, there are bacteria which lives in hot spring. Then you will find fishes who lives deep inside the water. There is a lot of pressure of water. Like every 10 meters, 1 bar pressure is increased when we go down water. We may not be able to tolerate that much of pressure, but there are organisms which live in these extremes of conditions, and that is because of the biochemical adaptations which they have. They have got very less cavities inside their body, because cavities, when the pressure is put on the cavities will crush, and they also have proteins which helps the organism not to get crushed when there is heavy pressure of water over their body. So that is biochemical adaptation, and it is shown by like fishes, and it is shown by bacteria who lives in extremes of condition. Then next is the behavioral adaptation. Behavioral adaptation is where there is a change in the behavior of the organism when the environmental condition changes, and when it reverts to the original condition, then they again come back to their previous behavior. So their behavior keep on changing depending on the environmental condition. For example, you must have seen crocodiles. They bask in the sun, they open their mouth and they absorb a lot of heat from the sun when they're during the winter season or when there is cold. So they when there are summers, they just remain in the water. So there is a behavioral change in these reptiles, and their behavior change according to the environmental conditions. So they are able to cope up by changing their behavior. So they go in hiding during the summer season when the weather is very hot. So any behavioral change which takes place in an organism is called as a behavioral adaptation. So these are the adaptations which are present in the organism, and they all depend upon the environment, the environmental condition. We all want to survive, nobody wants to die. So in order to survive, we have to have certain changes in our body which may fall in these categories. Some of them are long term, like the leaves are modified to the spine, stem is modified in the leaf. These are all permanent and long term adaptation. And this polycythemia, or you can say the physiological adaptation, where there is altitude sickness, they are all short term adaptations which which are not permanent. So when the individual is brought to the same condition, they come back to their original state. So these are the adaptations which are shown by the organisms in different conditions. Now, if the name of the chapter is organism and population. So the second part is the population, and population refers to the group of organisms of a particular species living in a particular area. So it can be any organism, it can be any area, big or large. For example, we may talk about the population of human beings in Lucknow. We can also talk about the population of frogs in a pond. So that pond is very small, but we have to specify the area, we have to specify the species. And when number of organisms belong to the same species live in a particular place, then they have got certain characteristics which is not shown by an individual. For example, the individual can die, but the population cannot die. So population have got death rate. Instead of death of an individual member, we calculate the characteristic of the population by death rate. What is the rate of the individuals of that population which are moving away or which are dying? That will be the characteristic of the population, or we also call it as attributes of population. So our next topic will be attributes of population. Attributes of population. That includes number 1, the natality. Number 2, mortality. Number 3, sex ratio. Number 4, age distribution. And the 5th one is the population density. These are the 5 attributes of the population. Natality, it is the birth rate. Number of individuals who taking birth per capita is called as a birth rate. Mortality is the death rate. Number of individuals which die in a particular span of time per capita is the death rate. Sex ratio, the ratio of the male to the female in a particular population. Age distribution, what is the distribution of different categories of individuals depend on the basis of the age. So we divide basically the age of human beings into 3 categories. One of them is pre-reproductive age, then there is reproductive age, and then there is post-reproductive age. 3 categories. Pre-reproductive age, it includes the children. Reproductive age, the age where the individual has the capability of producing the next generation. Post-reproductive age, after the reproduction, after they lose their capability of reproduction. So if we know the percentage or the number of these individuals in a particular country, we can also find out the possibility of that the population of that country after 20 or 30 years. We can estimate it, and it is essential because the government can make plan for future if they know what would be the possible population of their country in the next 5 or 10 years. So it plays a very important role, and they devise the methods to enhance that or to decrease that, or if it is stable then it's well and good. So all the plans of the government, they depend upon what would be the future population of that country. For example, let us take an example of all the 3 categories. The number of this particular block represents the pre-reproductive stage. The next block represents, let us say, the next phase, that is the reproductive age, and the next further it includes the post-reproductive age. This is, let us say, country A. If we talk about another country, the first pre-reproductive is this much, reproductive is also this much, and the post-reproductive is this much. This is 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. This is country B. And another example of the age distribution is, let us say, this pre-reproductive, reproductive and post-reproductive. Now if we compare these 3 pyramids which I have made, you will find that here the number of the individuals of the reproductive age is this much, but they are producing more children. So it means in future their population is going to increase. So there will be enhancement. they will enhance, population will rise in this case. Here you see that the reproductive age individuals and the pre-reproductive age individuals are almost equal in number. So this particular population will remain stable. It will remain stable as it is, won't change. Minor changes would be there, but that acceptable. Now look at the third one, the C, the country C. Here the number of the individuals belonging to the reproductive age are more and the children which are produced, they are less. So what is going to happen in this country is that the population is going to decline. This country have to take effort to enhance the population. This country has to take the effort to reduce the population, to make all the things possible and for the success of the nation. So that is age distribution. So we have done all these four. Then the fifth is the population density. Population density is how dense the area which is occupied by the individual is. Now let us say this area A and this area as B. If there are 150 individuals per, this is 1 kilometer, this is also 1 kilometer, so per square kilometer there are 150 individuals here in A population, and in B there are, let us say, 75 individuals, 75% per square kilometer. So this particular area is more dense than that one. And whenever we talk about population, we say that population of human beings in this much square kilometer. When we talk about the population of algae, we do not use square kilometer, we use population of algae per square meter. So depending upon the size of the organism, we keep on changing the unit. This is in the case of terrestrial, if the organisms are terrestrial. What if the organisms are aquatic? If they are aquatic, they occupy the x, y and the z axis. There is depth also. So in that case, instead of square kilometer, we will be using cubic kilometer or we will be using cubic meter. In the cubic meter in the case of diatoms, because they are microscopic, and cubic kilometer in the case of whales and the you can say the shark and the other marine animals which move from one place to another. So population density is the density of the population in a particular area. Now it is a very confusing question as to how can we calculate the density. One of the easiest method is the number of individuals. Like here I have counted 150 individual, 100 or 75 individual. But if we compare people or person with algae or with moss or with microscopic organism, then we will not be able to compare them on the basis of the number. Because if I say that there are 150 individuals per square kilometer, there may be billions, trillions or even more than that moss in that area. So accordingly, the population density of moss and algae would be more than human beings as far as the number is concerned, if we compare the number. But that's not a proper criteria. So what do? We calculate the population density on the basis of number when required. We also calculate them on the basis of biomass. We also calculate them on the basis of the area covered. For example, a banyan or a peepal tree covers a huge area, and we include the entire area covered by them as the population density, not the number, because number would be very less, number would be just 1, but they would be giving place to so many birds, there are so many algae, there are so many other organisms living on that. So we cannot compare them only on the basis of number, so we use the area covered by them also. Then the government count the number of the tigers, or the population of the tiger rather, population of tiger, not by counting their number all the time, but they count the fecal pellets, that is the excreta, and the pug marks. The pug marks are the marks of their paws. They are counted, and then the population of the tigers are determined. Then one more method is the relative density. Relative density is where we do not try to find out the exact number, but we compare the area, one area with another area. For example, if there is if the fishermen, they go to the water body and they catch a number of fish from one particular area, and the number of fish is let us say 10, Then they go to another area and they find that the number of the fishes which they caught by the same method was 50. So we can relate that the population density of fishes in area B is more than that of A. So that is the relative density, where we try to find out the relationship between the density of two different areas without actually calculating the number. So that is called as the catchment method. Catchment method in this case of fishes. So it is called as the relative density, where we try to find out the relationship or of density between two particular areas. So these are the attributes of population. Now the population will depend upon a number of attributes. So if the population is this block, then the population will increase as a result of immigration. How many organisms, individuals are adding on to that population. Then it will also increase if the birth rate is more. Whatever is the birth rate, then if the birth are there, then definitely the number is going to increase. So these two factors is going to increase the number of individuals of a particular population. But we have the other methods also, like emigration. Emigration is negative, who all are moving out. This is positive, and emigration is who all are moving out. So that will reduce the population. And here the death rate will also be a negative factor, which will be reducing the number of individuals in a population. So if we add on all these things and subtract after that, so population of a particular area at a particular time, NT, will be equal to N0. N0 is the original population, whatever we have taken. This is the new population after a certain period of time. N0 plus immigration plus birth rate. Immigration plus birth rate minus emigration plus death rate. So we are going to add them. Subtract these two from this, and we will be able to know the new population of that area. So this is about the attributes of population.